Hello, my name is Jesse Lewis. My presentation is on the evolution of human dentition and jaw size. In this presentation, I will talk about the anatomical layout of the current human dentition and compare it to the dentition of primarily the chimpanzee. I will occasionally note the dentition of other species, but the main focus of this presentation will be the comparison of human to chimpanzee. I will discuss possible explanations that cause the formation of the current dentition and jaw size in humans. I will also talk about the evolutionary advantages and disadvantages that have surfaced because of the change in jaw size. First, I want us to look at the phylogenetic tree, at this phylogenetic tree, rather. The species of interest, as I mentioned earlier, will be the pantroglodytes, or the chimpanzees, and the Homo sapiens. This presentation will also have images of some fossils of the Australopithecus. For some of the images, it will be helpful to view the development of certain characteristics starting from chimpanzee and moving towards Homo sapiens. The human dentition, the human dentition consists of 32 teeth. We have 8 incisors, which are primarily responsible for cutting and shearing our food. 4 canines, our sharpest teeth, which are responsible for ripping and tearing food. 8 premolars, or bicuspids, that share the responsibility with our 12 molars in chewing and grinding food. All of the species closely related to Homo sapiens have the same dentition in that they have the same number of teeth as well as the same kinds of teeth. This is an example of how we have the same dentition of other closely related species. In this slide, we have a comparison of a chimpanzee, an Australopithecus, and a human dentition. We can see the number of teeth and the types of teeth are identical in all 3 species. The only difference here that we see is the narrowness of the mandible or the jaw and the size of the teeth. The most notable difference in teeth size is the canine. The canine teeth in the chimpanzees are significantly larger than the canines found in both the Australopithecus and the human. So I don't know, what would account for this difference in size? I'll get to this question in a minute. In this slide, we have the anatomy of the tooth. The region above the gum is called the crown. At the crown, we can break the tooth into 3 tissue layers: the enamel, the dentin, and the pulp. The enamel is the outermost part of the tooth, and it is the layer of the tooth that comes in contact with the food when you chew. Enamel is known to be the hardest tissue found in the body. To the right, we see 2 images of molars. The top molar is that of a human, and the bottom is a chimpanzee's. Interestingly, the enamel layer of the human molar is thicker than the enamel of the chimpanzee. What would account for this difference? In this slide, we see the comparison of jaw sizes of multiple species. Here we see the chimpanzee, and we can note how large their jaws are. As we move down, we arrive at the Homo erectus, which has a significantly shorter jaw, but still a pretty large jaw. And as we move on to Homo sapiens, we can see the jaw is much shorter and much smaller than the chimpanzees. So what accounts for these differences between chimpanzees and humans? Why do humans have smaller canines, more enamel on their molars, and smaller jaws? And the answer may be because of our diet, utilization of tools, and cooking of our food. Canines, as we know, are used for shredding. We commonly use utensils like knives to cut foods that are tough. This relieves the amount of work and the need for canines. Chimps, however, are not known for eating tough foods, such as meat, like we do. The chimp diet consists mostly of fruits. A possible explanation for why chimps have such large canines is for intimidation purposes. A possible explanation as to why humans have more enamel on their molars is their diet favors having more enamel. Humans have a more omnivorous diet than chimpanzees do, and so maybe to accommodate for the different types of food that we eat, we may need tougher and stronger layers of enamel. The smaller the jaw size, the small jaw size is probably due to reduced size and chewing muscles, as well as implementing cooked foods into our diet. These 2 concepts go hand in hand because cooking, we can make food easier to chew and digest. And as food becomes easier to chew and digest, our muscles don't have to work as hard, and this could have led to a reduction in these muscles' strength. Another reason to why muscles of mastication are weaker is that at one point we may have gone through a mutation in a gene that regulates the production of myosin heavy chains in the muscles that would help with chewing. It's believed that this mutation occurred at the divergence of humans and chimpanzees. There have been some evolutionary advantages associated with the reduction of the size of human jaw. Because of the jaw size, because of a smaller jaw, there was more room for the cranium to grow. As the cranium grew in size, so did the human brain. Another reason to why the cranium could grow is the decrease in strength of the temporalis muscle, or the muscle that plays a major role in chewing. This muscle attaches to the cranium, and with reduced tension, the cranium would have the opportunity to grow a little more. Another evolutionary advantage made possible by a smaller jaw is bipedalism. Because of the reduction of the size of the jaw, there was more room for migration of the foramen magnum, which is where the spine attaches to the skull. Here in this image, we can see the comparison of the location of the foramen magnum on the chimpanzee as well as on the human. And you can see that bipedalism is favored more towards the center of when the foramen magnum is centered more on the skull than towards the back. So the evolution of human jaw and its dentition also has some disadvantages. One disadvantage occurs when our wisdom teeth begin to grow. Because of a reduced jaw size, there's less room. There's less room in the mouth for wisdom teeth. Wisdom teeth commonly crowd other teeth and may be very uncomfortable and painful. It's very common to have these teeth surgically removed. Another disadvantage is the development of obstructive sleep apnea. This is a condition where there is a decrease in airflow while sleeping. It is caused by muscle relaxation during sleep that causes soft tissue to block the airway. This condition can sometimes be fatal. Homo sapiens are the only species afflicted by this, interestingly enough. And obstructive sleep apnea has been partly been developed by the shortening of the mandible as well as the maxilla, or the upper jaw, as well as other anatomical changes that have occurred throughout the head and neck. So just kind of as a summary or conclusion, we know that our current human dentition and jaw size are as a result of our diet, or what we eat, how we prepare our food through cooking, and how we can cut up our food using tools. Evolutionary advantages that we have because of our dentition and our jaw size is that we are now bipedal, as well as our brain sizes have increased. Evolutionary disadvantages are discomfort when the third molars grow in, as well as the possibility of having obstructive sleep apnea. This is my presentation. Thanks for listening. See ya later.